Hey guys, welcome to another episode of AB in the Films. Folks, the top 10 of the top 20 are in. Saturday Night Fever. Now this was the first John Travolta movie I have ever seen, and I gotta say, this movie made me love the Bee Gees music. Now a lot of people don't like the Bee Gees music these days. Some people didn't like it back then. I happen to like the Bee Gees music, and every time I hear Staying Alive, I always think of, well, obviously this movie. But the real reason why I think I love this is because I started watching this when I was in the 6th grade. And yes, it has a lot of cursing and violence and, not really violence, but it has a lot of sex, drugs, and all that stuff that, you know, all us moviegoers at age 18, 19, 20 love in movies. Aside from that, kind of like Pulp Fiction, which is another one of Travolta's films, you have to dig deeper and look past all of the, dark stuff, which is the language and, the drugs and all that stuff. This is about a kid who wants to leave Brooklyn and go to Manhattan. And what I mean by that is he wants to pursue his dream as a dancer. He really wants to. Now, I know that sounds kind of stupid and weird, but if you watch this movie, if you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor, really check this out. Yes, it's from the 70s. It brought disco back when disco basically died. But it really is a good movie, and of course, that scene when John Travolta is dancing to the song You Should Be Dancing, it brings me back to 7th and 8th grade every time. And to those of you who went to school with me, 7th and 8th grade, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, Saturday Night Fever, I just love that movie. John Badham was the director. I don't know too many films from him, but he does halfway decent with this. But yeah, Saturday Night Fever is definitely a good film, and it definitely deserves the number 10 spot. It really does. So, number 9. The Hangover. Now here's the deal. When The Hangover first came out, I did not go to the theaters and see it. Unlike everyone else, I did not care for it. I really didn't. In fact, I never saw a trailer for this movie. I just saw the poster, and it said at the top, "A night they'll never forget," or something like that. I don't remember what it really said. I think that's what it did say. But I took one look at that poster and I said, you know what, that's ridiculous, okay? I can predict what's going to happen in that movie. These three guys, they get drunk in Vegas, and they don't remember anything, and there's a tiger. I mean, that's stupid. Well, when I heard they were going to do a sequel, I came home one day, I turned on HBO, and it just so happened to be on. And it was right at the scene when they were driving into Las Vegas. So I missed like the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie. Now, I sat down, I gave it a shot, and by the time it was over, I couldn't wait for part 2 to be released, okay? Now, I fell in love with that movie ever since I saw it, and then I went to HBO On Demand, and it just so happened to be there, and I watched the whole thing from the beginning, because I want to see the beginning. This is a brilliant, refreshing comedy. It really is. Now, unlike a lot of people, I don't consider Zach Galifianakis' character, Alan, to be the funniest character. No. Mr. Chow, Ken Jeong playing Mr. Chow, that is the funniest character in this movie. In fact, in both movies, because I like Hangover 2, but we'll get to Hangover 2 later in another review. We'll get to that later. The Hangover is really a funny movie. It's from Todd Phillips, the guy who directed Old School with Will Ferrell, another great comedy. Bradley Cooper, he basically plays, the same guy. He really has no character, but I do like his personality. Again, he really doesn't have much character development to his name in the movie, but still, he's interesting to watch. Ed Helms is always funny. That song, the Stu song that he plays on the piano, that song will go down in history, okay? It will. I wish they would have made that song longer. I remember getting the soundtrack and hoping that it was longer. I remember that. That's a funny song. I play that all the time, that song. Even though it's only a minute long, it's funny. But yeah, The Hangover definitely deserves a number 9 spot. Number 8. James Cameron's Titanic. I call it that because this is James Cameron's film, okay? It's not Avatar, it's not The Terminator, it's not Aliens, it's Titanic, okay? And let me just explain why. First of all, before you say anything, I like The Terminator. I like True Lies. I like Avatar. I actually did like Avatar. I didn't love it like everyone was supposed to, and how this was going to be like the biggest blockbuster since Titanic. I didn't like it like that. It was interesting. It was good. I've seen it before. A lot of people said it was like Dances with Wolves combined with the Smurfs, but still, I enjoyed it. I heard he's going to make a sequel about that in a few years, but, you know, that could be good. But on to Titanic. I saw this movie in the theaters when it first came out in Christmas of '97, and I remember seeing Mulan with my dad in the theaters, and I didn't like Mulan when it came out. I didn't get it. And my dad took me out and he said, hey, listen, I got a better movie. Let's go see this. And he had already seen it. And we went in the theaters and we walked in like right after the ship hit the iceberg. And I remember as a little kid being 4 or 5 years old looking at the big screen and watching that ship sink. And again, I'm not thinking about all the lives being lost, but I remember looking at that and thinking it was the coolest thing I had ever seen in a movie. That was the coolest thing ever. The way the ship was sinking, the way the water was flooding the hallways and everything was turning sideways and the ship going like this and all the people screaming. I thought that was unbelievable to see that. And, you know, a lot of people have told me that Leonardo DiCaprio this is not his best film. I think he's brilliant in this movie. Again, there are some lines that he delivers that, you know, aren't really well, but still, I think DiCaprio really is a good actor in this movie. This is the one, for me, this is the film where he's noticeable as an actor. He's really brilliant as an actor. You know, forget that Romeo and Juliet movie that came out a year before this film. That movie was horrible. I hated that. You want to watch Romeo and Juliet, you watch the 1968 version that came out. That was a good version. But still, Kate Winslet's brilliant. This movie won 11 Academy Awards. Okay, now to most people that might not mean anything because Ben-Hur won 11 Academy Awards, but this movie is unbelievable, and I cannot wait till it comes back in theaters this April. I will so be there and seeing it in 3D. I mean, this is James Cameron we're talking about. He knows 3D. He understands what 3D is. Unlike everyone who thinks they know what it is, and they don't know because, you know, everything's in 3D these days, I am looking forward to this. I really am. And to have it released on the 100th anniversary of the Titanic when it actually set sail for the first time, that is a... I don't even have words for it. I'm just looking forward to seeing Titanic again on the big screen. I'm trying to get a couple of friends together. So guys, come on, like let's get a few friends. Let's get all of us together. Let's go see this when it comes out on, you know, the first day it opens. Yeah, we've all seen it before. I'm sure we all own it on VHS or DVD. I own it on VHS. But yeah, like we definitely gotta go see this. But it definitely deserves this spot. Number 7. Inception. Again, this is another DiCaprio film where I think his acting is just brilliant. Now, there is something I should mention about this movie. When I first saw this movie, the only reason I went to go see it was for 2 reasons. Leonardo DiCaprio and Christopher Nolan. Now, at the time, I was not a huge Christopher Nolan fan. All I knew was that this was the guy that did The Dark Knight. And I like The Dark Knight. But when I went to go see this movie for the first time, I found out it was about dreams. Now, the trailer had me confused, but I thought maybe the movie might... you know, help me understand a little bit better. Because the Superbad trailer had me confused to what the movie was going to be about. And then when I saw Superbad, I understood it. But it sounds weird that I'm comparing Inception to Superbad. But anyway, I saw Inception with a couple of friends. I think the weekend it came out on an IMAX screen. Okay? And when I saw that movie, I remember walking out of it thinking, this has got to be the worst film I've ever seen. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it at all, and the whole time I remember thinking, is this supposed to be fiction or facts? Like, what is this? And I remember the whole time I was thinking, why can't these guys just get normal jobs? Okay, why dreams? I was so confused, but I went and I saw it again, and then it came on DVD and I bought it, and I saw it again and again and again, and by the 6th or 7th time, I finally got it. I finally understood it, or I think I do, and I gotta say, this is a brilliant film, okay? I don't know how I could have been so, you know, like, I didn't get it the first time I saw it, and everyone else did. Everyone else got it. I don't know how they got it. I didn't. But now here's what I admired when I first saw it. What I admired was the direction. Every frame of that movie was brilliant. I loved it. And they were interesting characters. They really were. I just didn't understand what they were trying to do in this movie. I didn't understand what was the point of going into a dream within a dream within a dream. I didn't get that. The special effects were brilliant. It deserved an Oscar nomination, okay? The acting was good. The directing was good. The writing was good. I just didn't understand what the point of the dream within a dream meant. I didn't get that. But now that I do understand it, and listen, if you understand it, explain a little bit to me, because I want to make sure that I have this whole thing right. I think I have it right. I don't want to explain the whole thing because it's going to take me a while, and we're running on a 15-minute video schedule here because, you know, YouTube. So anyway, Inception, it definitely deserves this spot. Number 6. Goodfellas. Now, please don't say anything to me when you see me later. Don't say anything in the comment section. But I like this movie a little bit better, like 0.5% better than The Godfather. Let me explain, okay? I have seen The Godfather. I have seen Godfather Part 2. Did not see Godfather Part 3. I haven't seen that one yet. I don't know if that one was good or not. I don't know. But I've seen Goodfellas so many times, and I gotta say, what makes this film 0.5% better for me than The Godfather is the narration of this movie. Now, I don't know if The Godfather has some narration in it. I don't know. I haven't seen The Godfather in like 2-3 years, but I remember loving it when I saw it. And what I love about Goodfellas is it lets you in the mind of these gangsters. It lets you know what they're thinking, what their deal is, how they construct business. And the way Martin Scorsese directs that is just brilliant. And it really lets you in with the mob. The Godfather did the same thing, but Goodfellas did it in a way that has never been done before in a crime movie, okay? And what I love about this film is, I'll get to Casino in a second. What I love about this movie is just the way Ray Liotta, all he wanted to do was just work for the mob. He didn't have a reason, he didn't have anything. He just said, I just wanted to work for the mob. That's all he wanted to do. He loved the business, he loved what you got out of it. I mean, the whole movie is about redemption, obviously. It's a crime movie. It's one of my favorite mob films of all time. It's up there. Godfather's number 2, but Goodfellas is number 1. And I just love this movie. I never get tired of it. Every time I watch it, I never... yeah, I know what happens afterwards, but it's such a great movie. I love every shot in this movie. And there's one shot in particular that I've always wondered about. Like, I wish Scorsese has mentioned this in an interview or something. The shot when Ray Liotta goes down into the kitchen with his wife or fiance, or I forget, but he goes down and the camera is just following him, and this goes on for like a good 3.5 to 4 minutes when he's going in the kitchen and through the kitchen and past all these people, and these are people that he knows and are involved in the mob. And then he goes and sits down at the restaurant. I don't know how Scorsese did that because it can't be handheld. I don't think that was handheld movement. I think that thing was on a dolly or on a tripod or something. I don't know how the hell they kept following him around for like 3.5 to 4 minutes inside the kitchen. That was the one thing that blew my mind. Now, again, that's something everyone isn't really thinking about, but still, as a director, from the director's point of view, I've always wondered about that. And of course, Joe Pesci is just brilliant in this movie. But again, he did the same thing he did in Casino. And I always thought Casino was the sequel to Goodfellas because you got Joe Pesci doing the same thing in both movies. The only difference is that instead of Ray Liotta, it's Sharon Stone. But for me anyway. But Goodfellas is a great movie. I love Robert De Niro in this movie. I love Joe Pesci. Like, the littlest spark can set him off, and that's what makes him a brilliant actor. You believe every bit of this movie. And I just love, like, Joe Pesci. Oh my God, this is one of his best roles. You know, forget Home Alone. I like the Home Alone movies, but this is way better. You know, I actually heard someone tell me that Home Alone was better than Goodfellas. I'm like, what? Get the hell out of here. You know, obviously that kid hasn't seen the movie. But definitely, Goodfellas definitely deserves a number 6 spot. Don't hate me in the comments section that I like it a little bit better than The Godfather. I do like The Godfather. Love Pacino. Love Brando. Brando makes that movie. But Goodfellas, I like a little bit more. And the final top 5 are coming up in part 4. And we're getting closer to number 1. Take care, guys.